Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you are feeling fine and dandy. I am dying to get stuck into this little task today, this morning. It might go on all afternoon. Sort of spring cleaning, sort of. Do you spring clean? Is it a sort of a week-long job, top of the house to the bottom, everything scrubbed, polished, aired, rugs on the line, bashed, loose covers washed? Is it a full-on mammoth exercise? Or is it, like me, it's more like normal cleaning, but a few extras chucked in? Yeah, so it's definitely feeling like spring cleaning time to me, the time of year that I like to get stuck into these jobs. And I'm sure every year it's triggered, it's something to do with the light. Although the light's not great today because, yeah, again, it's a cloudy, rainy day. But yeah, as the days are sort of lengthening, getting brighter, the sun's a bit higher in the sky each day, there's something about that light. I think it's, you know what, it might be something to do with our sort of primeval hind brain that it's like we've been hibernating through the winter, and it gets to this time of year and my goodness, our cave or our nest or our hibernation place, it's filthy by now, and now that the light is there, it's time to fling open the doors of the cave. Yeah, it's time to let the light in, let the air in, and have a good sweep out of this place where we've been hunkering down for months on end. That's what it feels like to me anyway, and it's sort of, I get that feeling every spring. Also, frankly, we haven't had a lot of bright days, but the occasional bright day, suddenly I look at my windows and I think, oh, they're filthy. Just from a battering over the winter rain. So the windows need doing. Not today, that's a big job for another day. But yeah, I think that's all part of the trigger to get things done. Now, so today I'm going to, the other thing to say is, for me, yeah, it's about cleaning, but it's also about, how to put it, it's also about just sort of setting myself up now for the rest of the year with organisation. So things that have gotten out of place over the winter, put them back in their right home. Things that need filing, so, you know, paperwork. Just putting everything in order, and as I go, I can have a bit of a sort out as I go to think, right, say with a document, that's now out of date, it can be shredded, or going through my drawers, I never really use those anymore, right, they can be chucked out. So I've got a bit of kit with me today. I've got a waste paper basket. I've got my little shredder. It's only a little one, does the job. Pair of scissors in the bureau handy, and I've just put I've put an empty basket on the top of the bureau. All the stuff that normally sits on the top of the bureau I've taken off for now, just to give me some more workspace, because it is mostly paper. Now, what I've already done, I started on this last night. Heavy. Remember back in January I was talking about sort of all the paperwork associated with my nursing degree, and I really didn't know what to do at the time, so I did probably the best thing, and that is I just put it all back, and that allowed me time to think about it and process, you know, do I really want to let things go? And I think that's, you know, I think it's really easy when we're decluttering, for example, to get a bit obsessive about it and just keep chucking stuff. And I'm all for that to a degree, but there are some things, you know, those sentimental things, like, you know, if you're not sure, just hang on for a little while longer and revisit it. And maybe in the meantime, set yourself a 6 months or a 3 months to revisit it. And during that time, think about, you know, will it be detrimental to my life if I get rid of it? So in that time, I've decided, and I started on it last night, all of this can go. There's a lot of paper here. Actually, this is one of these sort of folders with the clear sleeves. So that can go to a charity shop because you can use it for recipes, that sort of thing. That's an empty card folder. I might keep that for now because that might help with organising something else later on. But all of this paperwork, yeah, that's ready to go. Recycling, and where I've got paper that's only being used on one side, I'll cut it up and use it as scraps for my never-ending list making. I love a list. The little award thing, I'm going to keep the medal, but the little award trophy thing, I'm going to arrange to meet up with one of my she was like my bestie, my student nurse bestie, and yeah, she works at one of the hospitals. It's actually one of the teaching hospitals, so she's in constant contact with all the uni staff. So I'm going to get that to her and she can pass it on to them. And where I'm going to meet her ties in with something else in here that I want to talk about. It's about recycling pens. So we'll come to that. So yeah, there are bits that I decided to keep, but I don't need to keep it in the big plastic folder. I decided, it's my dissertation, I forgot I had a copy, that can go. Yeah, so my dissertation and my essays, again, it's that thing of I'm not sure if I'm quite ready to get rid of them. Yes, I think I've got them, I will double check, I think I've got them all on the computer. But I'm very much I like to read things, you know, a paper copy. I don't like reading things on the computer. So they can stay for a little while. But that box that they were all in, like that, I've managed to reduce that to about that. So I've got another one of my boxes it's one of those big white boxes that's, I think it's house documents, but there's some family stuff in there. So I'm hoping I can go through, I'll do that off camera because that will take me time to really go through. And I'm hoping by the time I've gone through that second box that these last bits of my nursing bits can join that box. So I'll be down to one of these boxes instead of two. Good. Right. So I know that I need this out. Oh, I've put my drawer in wonky. One of the other reasons that this is prompted today, oh, I know what that is. One of the other reasons this is prompted today is because of paperwork that has arrived, bills. I want to mention something about the insurance. Actually, let me open my desk. At the beginning of the year, you know, because I've talked about this in sort of budget videos, at the beginning of the year, I like to sit down with all my paperwork, make sure everything is up to date, rationalised, etc., etc. So this bit of the task today, I can rattle through because I already have that little system in place. And most of it gets done at the new year. But there are a few bills that come in around the sort of March, April, that change of financial year. So the insurance, water, council tax, that sort of thing. And I don't know, it always seems to be a bit of a busy time. They get shoved in the drawer, they don't get filed properly. So that's a little job for today, is filing things properly. Oh God, I had my water bill. I'm with Thames Water, and you may have seen the news by now. So my bill arrived and I calculated the increase, and it's a 13% increase, 13, which I felt a bit grumpy about because at the time, this arrived a couple of weeks ago, at the time inflation was at 4%, then a few days later it was announced that inflation was down to 3%. So this is 4 times inflation. I've subsequently heard that Thames Water have been, shall we say, mismanaging their money. They're too busy paying their shareholders rather than putting money into the business, as in into infrastructure, repairs, etc., etc. And now the company is on its knees and they can't pay for everything that's doing the repairs. So it looks like all of our bills, anyone who's with Thames Water, it looks like our bill is going to be increased by a further 40%, which will take me from, what is my annual bill? Oh yeah, I'll let you know, because I know folk around the world are always interested in these kind of things. But so my bill for the year is £360, £1 a day almost. So if that increases 40%, 36, 72, 144, it will go up to over £500. So it will go from 360 to over 500. The frustrating thing, of course, with the water bill, I can't shop around. There's only one supplier. There's no competition. Right, so what I wanted to say about the insurance, I've got my little note here. That was the paperwork from my old insurance. I kept it out though, because if you remember, I wanted to double check that on renewal day they didn't renew me, and I had phoned and put it in writing, but I just wanted to keep it out. I had it on the desk sitting in front of me for that date to just double check they have not charged, and they haven't. So that paperwork can now be chucked because I'm no longer with them. What I will do though is anything where there's any personal or sensitive information, so when it's like just something as simple as address, I'll just tear that bit off, shred that bit. I don't need to shred the whole thing. Any that's got a blank bit on the back, cut that up for scraps for writing on. Just a word about shredding and what to do with your shredded paper afterwards. Don't recycle shredded paper. The way I understand it, someone may know better than me, but once paper's been shredded, I think it's something like it cuts the fibres of the paper too short for them to be able to be recycled and used again and meshed together into a new piece of paper. I think that's the reason. So I try to shred a minimal amount so that I can either reuse by scrap paper and then recycle. So with the shreddings, I was going to say I'll put them in my compost bin. I don't have a compost bin anymore, do I? I mean, I've still got my key, so I could probably take my shreddings down, talk to my friends and see if any of my friends want my shreddings. Anyway, not for recycling. Now, with that insurance bill, and this is good information I hope to share. And sorry, this is UK centric, just for a second. I made a note. Hang on, I can hear the freezer's just kicked in and it might be picking up in the background. Just give me a sec to turn the freezer off. Hopefully that's a bit better. I've just shut the door rather than turn it off. Right, yes, so with the insurance, I went and found my new deal 21 days, it's very specific, 21 days before my old previous provider, before that contract ran out. So I gave myself 21 days before I needed to start with a new provider. Yes, it's very specific. And this comes on to Martin Lewis. There's been quite a bit of research about this, Martin Lewis and his team have done, and they found that on the 21 days before renewal is due is the perfect optimum time for getting the best deal. And it's thought that with the insurers, they consider the kind of person who is organised enough to do it 21 days in advance is probably an organised person, a careful person, a low risk or risk averse person. So they're considered a sort of a safe bet to insure, therefore we can give them a good deal. Whereas if you're the kind of person who leaves everything to the last minute and it's the day before or a couple of days before renewal, you won't get such a good deal. That cost will go up because the insurer is going to see you as being someone who's a bit of a risky person, flying by the seat of your pants, not organised, not careful. So it really, really, it's an incredibly subtle thing, isn't it? But wow, what a difference it can make. So the reason I wanted to mention that today was to bring up Martin Lewis. Hallelujah. And sorry, this is the bit that's a bit UK-centric, although you might be able to look at his website from overseas, but it wouldn't make much difference because it's all about UK stuff. He has the nickname, the Money Saving Expert, and that's the title of the website. It is www. all one word, all lowercase, money saving expert, no gaps, one word, .com. And it's an amazing website. At first glance, it's quite overwhelming, but it deals with anything and everything to do with money, apart from stocks and shares. Martin Lewis doesn't touch that. But you can go on there. It's got all the different kinds of insurance, life insurance, car insurance, homes and buildings, all of the insurance. It's got banking, it's got loans, it's got savings, pensions, tax, or literally anything to do with money and bills and all this kind of stuff. His website covers it. You can, sorry, I've got an itch. You can sign up to a weekly, I haven't checked this because I haven't done it for a while. I unsubscribed because I just felt I didn't need it anymore, but a weekly newsletter that comes via email. And it was really useful because it highlights, on a weekly basis, it highlights any deals that are out there. Even simple, silly little things like in the run up to Christmas, for example, which shops are doing great, fantastic deals on gift sets, that sort of thing. Where you can get a free cup of coffee when you do your shopping. All those lots and lots of little things. So both in terms of the big life stuff like mortgages are on there. That's on there, down to little things like, can you get a free cake and cup of tea when you're at, M&S or something like that. Well worth a look. That weekly newsletter, brilliant for giving you the latest deals. I unsubscribed from it because I felt that I'd got everything that I wanted to. I'd got it all in order. And it's on his website. When I was talking about this insurance bill the other month and someone mentioned it, and I thought, oh yeah, I seem to remember that 21-day thing, but it's vague. I'll go on his website and double check. And sure enough, in one of the document folders, there's the document about the optimum time to sign up to get a new deal for insurance, 21 days. So I did it. Like I say, it's a fantastic website full of, ideas, tips, deals, advice, news. One of the things I really like about what he does as well is things like how to describe it. He's very good at highlighting deadlines and giving people reminders, continually reminding a deadline is coming. So for example, things like topping up your state pension if you've got missing years from national insurance. It was him that put me onto that about 15 years ago. I'd got a couple of missing years going right back to the 80s. So that's great. I can pay into that, so those years are now complete. Things like, and there was all the PPI claiming. He was really good at saying this is your last chance to claim, so that hopefully none of us miss out on any of those great deals. But he's also a real champion and campaigner, and he does manage to get meetings with the Chancellor, which is amazing. He has actually managed to get policy change in place. So it was one of the things I wanted to talk about with the bills and feeling frustrated because it feels like, well, we don't have any choice, there's no competition. And what I would say is, yeah, it is really frustrating and annoying, but one of the things I would think of doing, and do is write to the company to say, oh, this isn't fair, you sort yourself out, probably won't make any difference. Write to my MP, say what's going on, this isn't fair, can you sort it out, might not make a difference. But write to Martin Lewis, which the nation does by the droves, and he sees patterns emerging in what we are complaining about, worrying about, whatever, and that's the kind of stuff that he does really campaign on and take to the Chancellor and does get change put in place in some instances. So when you're feeling really, really, really frustrated and angry at your fuel bill situation and you feel like there's nothing you can do, at least there's one thing we can all do, and that is drop Martin an email or a letter to say, this is awful, I'm venting, it needs to change, please can you campaign on it? And hopefully he will. So that's Martin Lewis, www.moneysavingexpert.com. Sign up for the weekly newsletter. Right, I need to go through those two. So I'll file them, and then literally everything just gets filed. So what I'll do now is I'll go through and make sure. So last year, let me see, the insurance. So that's last year's insurance documents. They can now be, sensitive bits can be shredded, blank bits like on the back can be cut up and used for note paper. And I'll do that for my whole folder now. Anything that's been taken over, superseded, is that the word, by the newest, most latest bill. The new bill goes in, the old bill comes out, the sensitive stuff goes in the shredder, blank stuff gets cut up for note paper, and any non-blank stuff, recycling. Okay, so what else? So this is something else I wanted to mention. It's in the next drawer down, hang on. The drawer of doom. Who said the drawer of doom? I absolutely love that phrase. My drawer of doom. Oh, you can't really see it much, can you? There we go. It's not too doomy. Most things are, I would say that almost everything in here is in use fairly often. However, one thing to check on. Sorry, noisy. Let's get them out and then. Pens. Where did I just put my bit of paper with my info on? If I just put it in that drawer, left it in there because it's not an address I know without referring to it. It's here. Scraps of paper. How many of us have drawers which are full of felt pens? Oh no, that's struggling. These pens are two-ended though, so the other end works. Yeah, how many of us have these drawers with felt tip pens, Sharpies? I've got some permanent markers there. A couple of the colours I don't even use, but it was cheaper to buy 4 than to buy, I think I needed red and black. Was it red and black? And it was cheaper to buy all 4 than to buy red individually and black individually. So every now and again, I don't want to be too nerdy about this. I wouldn't do this every year, but every now and again, I just go through and test my pens. What's the point of having a drawer full of pens if they're all dried up or empty? Because apart from anything, that's really frustrating when you put your hand in the drawer to pull one out to use. It's like, ah! And then what happens when it's empty? Sling it back in the drawer. Now, where's that come from? I don't even recognise that. I've got a Sharpie highlighter. I don't really use... Oh, that one works. Sorry, that's a... I was going to say... I keep forgetting the garden's gone. I was going to say, sometimes I use a highlighter on the calendar and I use green for garden jobs. orange is for admin jobs. So you've got all your pens, half of them don't work. You've got marker pens, some of them don't work. You've got highlighter pens, some of them don't work. You've got little bottles of, the correction fluid. For any of those of you who... Does anybody still type? I had a typewriter, I loved it. It was a vintage one. It got dropped and smashed when I came to do the move into this place, but it was lovely. It was one of those, it's really sort of tall and almost sort of narrow. Oh, I loved that. The noise, clack, 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 clack. Correction fluids, mechanical pencils, propelling pencils, maybe in a style you can't get a refill for anymore. We all end up with these things, and what do we do with them when they're no use? I mean, we put them in the bin, don't we? A few years ago I heard about a scheme and I thought, oh, that's brilliant. So because I knew I was going to be doing this today and going through mine, I thought I'm going to look it up on the computer. So I looked it up last night on the computer and I thought, oh, has it stopped? So a few years ago, the company Crayola, who do crayons and they do all the kids' stuff, they had a recycling scheme. I couldn't find it online yesterday, but I did find another one, and it comes back to me saying about taking this over to see my friend, because where we'll meet, she lives the other side of Blackheath to me, so it's nice for us. We meet on the Heath. There's a lovely pub. Oh, this will be such a treat. It's called the Princess of Wales. It's up on the Heath. The views are lovely. Oh, the last time we were up there, it was a winter session. We both arrived, and just after we both arrived, the most howling gale arrived, and we could see this sort of blackness coming across the Heath. It was getting nearer and nearer across the Heath. Lashing rain, howling gale, occasional clap of thunder and lightning, which is weird in winter. But this huge storm rolled in, so we sat there in the window seat, all cosy. The pub had gone really dark, so candles were lit on the tables. It was lovely. The reason I'm mentioning that is because where I need to go with any of my pens is in Blackheath. So it's a recycling scheme for all those types of pens I've just mentioned. Felt tip pens, marker pens, permanent marker pens, highlighters, little correction fluid bottles, correction fluid pens, mechanical or propelling pencils, biros, literally all they call it writing instruments. There we go. The only thing is not wooden pencils and not pencils with erasers in the end, wooden razors. So I found it through, if you need to look up where the nearest one to you is, because it's a drop box. I was thinking, I wonder if you can do it via the post, because I think the Crayola one was, but no, you have to drop them. If you look up TerraCycle, TERRA, cycle, like bicycle, TerraCycle, one word, / or Bic, as in BIC, Bic pens, is that a Bic? Oh, it won't show up to camera. Bic pen recycling. I think I put into the search engine biro recycling. Oh no, I put in felt tip recycling. So this organisation company, TerraCycle, you can apply to be one of their drop box holders, although it said it's got enough now. And for every however many, I guess it's done by weight, however many boxes you fill and give them for them to recycle, you get a TerraCycle point to spend on something. So it looks like quite a lot of these collection points are at schools, which completely makes sense, doesn't it? Because, felt tips especially, kids go through them. So I've looked one up, and it says, I'll double check, but it says there's a drop box in Ryman's the stationers, up in Blackheath. I think, for instance, it said, I think there was one at the Ryman's at Waterloo Station, but I don't go up to the station in town anymore. So have a look, Find your nearest drop box. So first things first, go to your drawer of doom, get all your pens out, check that they're all still working, and any that aren't, any that have dried up completely, run out of ink, whatever, go online and look at this TerraCycle biro, writing implement recycling. It'll give you a map and it'll show you where your nearest drops are. There's another one at one of the schools in Dulwich, so I could go that way on the bus. But I'm just thinking, well, if I go to Blackheath to see my friend anyway, 2 birds, 1 stone. But what I will do, excuse me, I wouldn't have a lot. Excuse me a second. I don't know that any of these will need recycling. I have got, in my pen pot on my desk, I have got one of my highlighters is really on its last leg, so that could go. But I would say, especially if you've got a lot, especially if you've got kids and you've got felt tips coming out of your ears, I think it's probably worth, before setting out, if you're going to make a special trip, whatever the organisation is who's holding the box, in this case for me it's Ryman's, the stationers, give the shop a quick call in the first place to say, do you still have a recycling collection point for pens, biros, writing implements? Just double check so you don't make a special journey and are disappointed. But that's great. I love when things like that are available and out there. And you know what, it's one of those things, isn't it? If it's not, it may not be really close to your home. And you may think, oh, I'm not schlepping all that way to throw 1 pen away, chuck it in the bin. I get it, I totally get it, but it might be worth saying, you know, in one of your drawers to have, you might find, it might even be from a food carton or something, you might find that you can find a slimish box, cardboard box, that you can keep in your drawer to put your dud pens in, and then when you've got a whole box full and you may be going towards the other town that's got the drop box, or like me, you're going off to meet a friend somewhere and there's a box near there, then take it. Yeah, actually I think a little box in your drawer, what would come, like a breadsticks come in there. Imagine a breadsticks box, so on its side in your drawer, it's quite neat and tucked away. You put a label on it, dud pens, tell the whole family if they ever have a dud pen, put it in the little breadsticks box in the drawer, and then when it's full, you can take it off somewhere. Right, good, that's pens. So, paperwork shouldn't take too long. I'll go through all of that. The drawer of doom, there's nothing to actually get rid of in here, but I will just double check all my pens. And then the last drawer, yes, okay. Don't worry, you don't need to actually see down into the drawer. I keep things like, it's just stationery, so envelopes, but I also keep all sorts of scraps of, so I've got in here a load of scraps of paper. I always keep a pile in the kitchen for, you know, handy, ready to use. But sometimes I end up with mountains and mountains. So they can sit in this drawer, and then every now and again I'll grab a handful from the drawer to put in the kitchen on my desk. Fine, they don't need to be touched. In the bottom of the drawer lives the clipboard. I haven't had any clipboard type days recently because most of the jobs I've been doing, instead of doing lots of itty bitty little diddy, I've been doing one big job, for example. Anyway, but what is in here, oh, and that, hold on, we can have that out and show that. Oh, yeah. Oh, and that. I've got my European plug adapter in there. Never say never. The thing is, because France is doable by train and not plane, yeah, never say never. I'd love to get back to Greece one day. I adore Greece. Yeah, I'd love to get back there one day. That's a long way on the train though, but it's one of those don't be in a hurry to get there. The journey itself is part of the adventure. Oh, and also just to say, in the bureau itself, this is always pretty neat. I think I've thrown up some dust today. Sorry. Yeah, this is always neat and tidy anyway. It's stationery. I have cards. When I see a lovely card, I'll pick it up, and so that I've always got cards handy for... I don't generally forget birthdays, but if last minute I think, oh my goodness, that birthday's tomorrow, oh quick, grab a card. But it's more sort of cards for just sending to say, hello, I love you. So it's all the stationery, and it's in use. I've got my little bits and bobs for the shop, some airmail stickers, customs stickers, the shop swing tags stay in here. So yeah, it's all stationery. It's all regularly in use, so it never gets a mess in here. Elastic bands, paper clips. Yeah, so I don't need to touch any of this. It's done. But what I suddenly thought of in the bottom drawer, I wasn't thinking of this. Oh, it's pinboard pins. But of course I've gone down from 3 pinboards to just 1 pinboard in the kitchen. And I've got, all the pins are clear or white, and I've got the occasional blue or green one. But I don't like the yellow ones, and you get a mixed lot. So these are all spare. You know what, I suppose I could take it to the charity shop though, couldn't I? I mean, if they sold that for 50p, is that worth 50p? I'll ask them if they want it to sell for, would you buy it for 50p? I don't know. But this is the other thing, is printer ink. So I don't have a printer, and I mean, I've had such a bad run of luck with the last 2 printers. I mean, you know what, as well, it just made me so frustrated. I was losing days at a time with my frustration of this printer won't work. And when the last one just wouldn't work for me, I thought, do you know what? I'm done. Life's too short to be fighting with a printer every day. So I got rid of it. So I don't need my ink, and I think, you know, in future, just in terms of having a simple, peaceful life, I think I don't want to have a printer ever again in my life. So, and you know, if I really need something printing, now I know, for example, I can just, whatever's on my computer, I can put it onto one of those lipsticks, and I can take the lipstick to a print shop, and they can print it for me. Yeah, I know there's going to be some cost associated with that. I think my library do it as well. But yeah, just there's, honest to God, I don't know if it's just me, but there's something about modern printers which are designed to send people to the edge, right to the very edge. And you know what, yeah, like I said, life's too short. So I don't need this ink. I will ask around amongst my friends if it's the right size cartridge, if it's the right one for their printer. If it is, they can have it. If none of my friends use this, then I'll just go on my community. Oh, my tummy grumbled. I'll go on my community page and offer it. But yeah, no point in having that. And that was one that was opened, and that'll be dry by now, won't it? I thought I'd rescue it when I got rid of the printer. I'm sure it's dry. I'll offer it, and then if there's anything left in it, and of course the recycling bag to go with it, so that when they're finished, these cartridges, they can just be sent away to be recycled. Good. I knew there wasn't a lot to get rid of today. I wasn't thinking there'd be anything to get rid of particularly, but ink needs a new home. Good. Those little thumbtack things for the pinboard. Don't want yellow tacks in my board. Thank you very much. Oh, and I dug out my old iPod. When was the last time any of you saw an iPod? You all use your phones now, don't you? Do you remember? Your touch screen iPod. What's it called? Was it called Touch? I can't remember. And, oh, that's a good job to do. I've just thought of another good job to do today whilst I'm in this sort of mode and this mood. Because I couldn't remember how to turn it on. Couldn't remember how to charge it. Couldn't remember anything. And I was thinking, where's my instruction manual? And I think I'm going to clear out my instruction manual drawer today as well, because that makes sense with the kind of day I'm having. And it's another one of, it's another one of those drawers, isn't it, that ends up chock full of, guarantees that we never even filled in the form for and sent off, but guarantees, manuals for gadgets which long since left our home. So yeah, look in your manuals and warranties and gadgets thing drawer too, and chuck any that you don't need. If you no longer have the appliance, the other thing you can do, this will be really helpful to someone else, and if I can't find my manual, this is certainly what I will do, is amazingly there is a market for manuals on eBay. So, but it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because I'm really sorry about this tickle today. I feel like I need a really massive cough. Yeah, the thing about the manuals is, so many of us are buying second-hand pre-loved things these days anyway. The chances are you buy a second-hand sewing machine, chances are it's not going to have the manual with it. And then someone somewhere else, the other side of Europe, is clearing out their manual drawer and they go, oh, I got rid of that sewing machine years ago. I'll chuck the manual in the recycling bin. No, put it on eBay and maybe the two of you can end up matching up. Brilliant. So I'll look at my manuals now, see if there are any to chuck out / put onto eBay, or again, offer on my community page to say, does anyone need this manual? Whilst I'm at it, look for my iPod. I haven't used this for... I probably haven't used it for about 10 years or so. Yeah, but there's something I want to use it for, so I dug it out. I want to use it for listening to music, of course. That's what you do with it, isn't it? But yeah, okay, so I think that might do us for now. Obviously, I haven't actually finished this. I haven't actually done it. I've just been talking about what I will be doing. But it's one of those jobs. I'll enjoy it when it's done. I'll enjoy the process of doing it. I quite like paperwork stuff. But it's one of those corners of the house that, yeah, let's keep our paperwork in order. And, goodness knows, if ever there's an emergency and you need someone to take over taking the care of things for you, like the home or whatever, if all your paperwork's in order, if you're in hospital, for example, laid up, you've fallen over, you've broken your leg, you end up in hospital for 6 weeks, if you can say to your friend or family member or whatever, oh yeah, it's in the second drawer down, in the folder under F for... What would you have under F? Pick the wrong letter. Food. That's all I can think about because my tummy's grumbling. It's under G for gas. There we go, that's better. Yeah. Getting it in order feels good, doesn't it? And whilst doing that, chucking away anything or recycling anything that's broken, no longer usable, charity shop for things which are in good order but which we don't want anymore. And that's another tick. And also for me, in terms of thinking ahead to moving, I don't want to move anything extraneous. I don't want to move stuff and then get to the other end and go, oh, that can go in the bin. Put it in the bin now. Right, all right, lovelies, I think that will do for today. Happy spring cleaning to you lot. I am hoping to get stuck in over the next few days and next few videos, all sorts of cleaning jobs, which I'm going to share some of them with you because I'm going to try a couple of new things myself. I've got a rust stain I want to remove from something. I'm going to try something with that. I need to clean my bookcase and my books. That's going to be a big job and that one will be really dusty. So I'm going to share that with you as well, and you will get my professional wisdom from all my years working in the book trade with precious books, cleaning the shelf, yes, but also cleaning the books themselves. Finally going to get around. I talked about this last year. It just didn't happen because this time last year other things were way more important. But cleaning vintage baskets, I'm going to finally get around to doing that one for you. So yeah, join me for some spring cleaning that might go on for the whole spring. It'll take me ages. I'm not in a hurry. So until the next one, which I don't know what it is yet or what we'll be doing, but we'll be doing something. I'll be doing something and sharing it with you. So until then, look after yourselves. Enjoy. The sun's just starting to peak a bit. I think you can see it on the screen, can't you? It's just ever so slightly brighter. Yay! Yeah. Enjoy your spring cleaning. Enjoy just lifting the weight of junk off yourself as you sort whilst you clean and get rid of the stuff that is just not necessary to your life anymore. All right, lovelies. For now, though, cheerio.